And now we have Larry Tentarelli of Blue Chip Daily with us. Larry, great to have you back. I know you're making hay in this kind of market. It's going to be interesting to hear what you have to say. I'm going to stop sharing so that you could. And welcome back to Face, my friend.
Dale, good morning. Thank you for
Good
having me back
morning.
on.
Yeah, it's great to have you. So, I mean, what isn't going up? Maybe that would be a shorter webinar.
I know, right? So what
Yeah.
I know that you like to talk big picture. So what I brought, just to start the conversation is really the four groups that I've been most focused on over the past few months and where I'm
Okay.
still seeing it. So technology and AI,
Yeah.
nuclear,
Yeah.
defense, and then the diversified miners. It's not just gold, but steel,
Yeah.
copper, pretty much everything.
Anything that if you drop it and it hits your foot, it hurts.
That's right. That's
Okay.
right.
All right. Larry, before we get into this, I wanted to ask you this. You know, the transactions that are happening between OpenAI and all the other chip makers and stuff, where they're giving part ownership and then they're investing in these companies and then they guarantee sales from, all this commingling of interests of these companies. Have you ever seen anything like this before? I can't remember.
I can't say that I have, and it does have to give you some pause, but you know me, I just
Yeah,
follow the
you're a
chart. So
chart.
yeah,
I
I
know.
stick
Yeah.
with the charts, and at some point, it may come around and we may have to pay the piper and it'll show up on the charts. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
definitely
that's right.
something to think about. If for
Okay.
some reason something goes wrong with OpenAI and it's like a domino effect where they're spending money with each other. So it's definitely something that I pay attention to, but I keep it on the back burner until the
Okay.
charts start to show it.
Okay. So let's start with the Q, way above even your shortest term moving averages. The red and the blue, I'm not sure what they are.
Yeah,
Let's
so
see,
so the
10 and
red,
20, 10 and
yeah,
20.
yeah, the red is the 50-day.
Yeah.
And that's really my key trend filter. So, on
Okay.
any chart, if we're over a rising 50-day and we're over a rising 200-day, I want to stay long. And I've been long, triple Q for a while. I actually bought some more triple Q just yesterday. So I'm not really, worried about it up here. I'm a trend follower, and I know that at some point this run will come to an end, whether it's today, 2 months, 2 years, whenever it is, and it'll show up on the chart. But really, if we're over that rising 50-day and that rising 200-day, I'm going to continue to press these things on the long side.
Yeah. They're like little dots on the chart. And I've made the case before that all it'll take is 1, 2, or 3% down day to break trend because we haven't seen anything like that. That looks better. The uranium looks better, but the Qs and the S&Ps, see, they almost look like dots on a chart. Compressed ranges. Yeah, since then and even more now, where yeah, the market feels strong, but the chart, it almost feels like it's levitating. And just if you had 3% or 2% down day, I think it would take out at least your two short term and get to the 50.
Yeah, the 50, it looks like the 50 is $24 away. So maybe,
Okay.
3 or 4%. We had one test of the 50 beginning of September. But really,
Yeah.
the way that I see this, it's a lower volatility uptrend. And what's happened is just buyers,
Okay.
anytime there's a pullback, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
buyers come right in. But maybe one of the strongest things that I see, Dale, and you and I are on social media all the time, right?
Yeah.
And I always see, the bear case over the past 2 or 3 years has been, breadth, breadth, breadth. But if you take a look, so I track 81 ETFs, unlevered, all
Yeah.
across the world. But if you take a look, so these are sorted by their distance to the 52-week high, right? So
Yeah,
everybody talks about the Mag 7 and the market needs the Mag 7, but if you look at these, this is closest to the 52-week high. So you've got global defense, copper miners,
yeah,
utilities, the UK, right? Aerospace and defense, more utilities, natural resources. You've got to go down. Here's industrials, here's Europe financials. You've got to go down halfway on the screen before you get to the Mag 7. So
interesting.
you've got
So,
everything. Everything's
yeah,
breaking out.
it's an everything bull market.
It's, Canada, there's no Mag 7 in Canada. Emerging markets, Europe, right? There's no Mag 7 in Europe, biotech. The key thing that I see, Dale, is this breakout is it's not a narrow breakout. It's super strong because you got to go all the way down the middle of the screen before you find the Mag 7. In the old days, triple Q would be up here and then,
You're
tech,
right.
tech, tech, it would be all tech. And it's not all tech right now. So that
No,
gives me some confidence that this move, it's got some legs to it.
I'd
Like
say
you,
that's I've heard people talking about being long XME and short tech as being a great move. And this rotation into commodities
yeah.
long term is not that bullish for the market and for the economy because it's saying that the Fed has thrown in the towel and we have bull markets in everything. I just wanted to ask you one thing because I like to remember Phil Donahue, the he was always the devil's advocate.
Sure.
So I know the bull case. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to does 16, 17 VIX instead of a 14 or 13 VIX mean anything to you with the market making new successive highs after highs for weeks and months?
I've got to tell you, it's a good question. I don't pay too much attention to the VIX, so I really I can't say either way.
Okay. All right. All right. So, anything else you wanted to cover? Are the bonds anything interest rate sensitive starting to pop up for you? Because the Fed is easing.
Yeah, here's the thing, the Fed is easing, but inflation is still a problem.
Yeah.
Inflation is still above target. And the last time the Fed started to ease, back in 2024, bonds went straight down. So it's tough
Yeah.
to just buy bonds because the Fed's easing. Because historically, when the Fed eases, it should stimulate the economy. And if it
Yeah.
stimulates the economy, that puts upward pressure on bond yields.
Okay.
So, and that's why I think that you've seen, the bond market just can't figure it out. I don't really have anything in the bond market right now. It's a tough trend. I think, shorter term traders can get a hold of some of that volatility. But for me, just when I take a look at the bond chart, it's a tough chart.
Okay. Anything in the energy field? Nat gas has had a decent run in the last few months.
Yeah,
Um,
a lot
Go
of
ahead.
lot of good energy stocks. So really, as far as nat gas, I don't follow nat gas too closely, but I do follow the stock. So EQT, is not bad. WMB is another nat gas energy stock. Pretty good chart. Looks like it's trying to
Yeah.
break out right there. So actually, when you look at that longer term chart, that's a pretty good chart.
Yeah.
That's a bullish chart. I've got some CVE. So this is Synovus Energy. They're up in Canada. And if you can take a look, the weekly's got some work to do, but this daily trend, it's a really nice daily trend. So, CVE is good. Shell, I know you've got a lot of listeners that are overseas. So Shell looks like that's trying to break out right now. That's a really nice chart. You
Yeah.
can see
That
that's
looks
got
good.
a really, really big, what is that, about a 2 year base, right?
Looks like the handle.
Yeah. Yeah. That shell looks like it's trying to go, right now. So that's a really good chart in energy.
Have you been on any of the quantum stocks? They've been really the stars, I guess. They've been going parabolic.
They have been. So I don't have probably the closest thing that I've got to quantum. I don't have any direct exposure. So I've got Palantir, Nvidia, things like
Okay.
that. I cover the quantum for my website because we've got a lot of active traders on the website. But
Yeah.
personally, I don't have any of the quantum stocks. But yeah, they've been super strong.
All right. Well, Palantir has had a couple rejections, and it had a bad one last week, and it's trying to come back. So your 50 days at 120. Yeah. See
One
that
50
bad?
days at 170. So Palantir, it
Oh,
trades in big ranges. So really 150, that's the support line. If you look at 150
okay.
here, you can see it topped here for a little bit at 150. And then but Palantir, it's up
Yeah.
350% in the past year. So it's going to pull back sharply when it does, big sharp pullback here. I think this right here was a 25% pullback in about a 10-day window or something.
Right. Right.
But then it made new highs. And I think as long
No, I don't think we made new highs. We didn't take out
you're
that at
actually
one.
right. Yeah, you're actually right. We didn't take out the new highs as of yet. It's
Yeah.
close, but
Yeah.
I think, I've been in Palantir for a while. And if you're bullish on the market, if you're bullish on AI and tech, Palantir is a closet tech defense stock. Palantir
Yeah.
gets a
Yeah.
ton of business from the U.S. government. So if you're bullish on tech or defense, I think you've still got to be long Palantir. If Palantir closed below, 148, something like that, then I would get more concerned about it.
Okay. Okay. So that's uh kind of a poster boy for AI.
It,
Anything
it
with any crypto stocks, Larry? Have you ventured into some of that stuff?
so I've got the Bitcoin ETF. I've had that for a
Okay.
while. And
Okay.
I've had this Bitcoin miners. This has been on our website
Wow.
buy list maybe for eight weeks or so. I've had it on our buy list, but I don't do, for me personally, I tend to stick with, the large caps, the bigger names, and they can still be volatile, Cameco, Palantir. But yeah, we've had Bitcoin miners on the buy list for about 8 weeks right now. Super strong. I don't look at them too closely. The strongest one that I know, and this has been on our buy list for about 8 weeks also, is Iron, which I believe is they're either a miner or an exchange. I don't follow them really closely. I just look at the charts.
Okay.
But I think you've got to be long there too. Any of these charts that are like this, even biotech. Biotech is starting to make a really nice move for whatever reason. And, I think you should have some biotech exposure. This 50, 200-day just crossed. If you look at the green line, which is the 200-day moving average, you can see that's really just starting to turn up right now.
Okay.
So it's like we said, Dale. I mean, everything.
Yeah.
Clean energy. I mean, if you name it, it's probably in an uptrend right now.
But we just had a harvest moon. Aren't you going to bring in some of the crop and trim anything, Larry, and throw it in your silo?
You mean for some of these positions?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've been booking some gain. I booked
All
some
right.
gains on the way up. I booked some gains
Okay.
recently. I booked some gains in nuclear. I booked
All
some
right.
gains just yesterday in XME, right? Because
All
XME,
right.
I'm up about maybe 40% or so. I
Yeah.
bought this breakout over 70. But what I
Yeah.
do, because I'm a trend follower, so let's just say hypothetically, I've got a 3% position in XME, right?
Right.
Maybe I'll sell 50 basis points. Maybe I'll trim 10 or 15% of the position, continue to stay long because once these trends break out, you really never know how far they can go. So I would
No, you
rather
don't.
give back, 5 or 10% at the end than sell it too soon and watch it go up 50%. But yeah, I'm in this market. I'm constantly, trimming some of my winners. If I've got some losers, I took a loss yesterday
So
in
that's a kind of a rule of thumb for you when something in your portfolio becomes 3% or more of your portfolio. That's kind of a sign to, it's really been a huge performer for it to become 3% of your portfolio. So you'll trim.
it
Am I
could be
reading you right?
to a degree. So it depends. I might have a smaller position, so I might buy a 2% position. And if it goes up 20%, 30%, I'm going to dial back some of it. I
Yeah,
never want to get into a situation where I buy a stock, it goes up 20, 25%. I don't take anything off the table. And then they shake it out, after earnings. I never want to round trip a trade and not take something off the table. So I will consistently, I'd say, probably every week, I'm usually taking some gains somewhere, and especially if I'm buying new stocks. So I've been buying stocks, for a while, but I'll constantly be rotating because you can't just keep, buy all the time. You've got to
right.
hit the cash register too. So, I just started my position in NLR just last week. But when I took it, I sold Cameco, and this is probably going to go higher. And I sold
Uh,
GE Vernova, and I made, good money. I think I made, 20 to 40% in both of those stocks. But I don't want to get in a situation where I'm just constantly stacking up new risk and I'm not hitting the cash register along the way as well.
Good discipline. Cannabis has come out of real long bases on the talk that they're going to reschedule, and now everyone's waiting for the reschedule announcement. Not a bad looking chart either, right?
Great chart. It's a really nice chart. So
Huge
really
move.
the key thing for me, the green line, which is the 200 day,
Yeah,
that's my long-term go or no go. So if something's under the 200 day, I generally won't touch it, right? But when you see this big move over the green line, that's bullish. This 50-day moving average, which is the red line, that started to turn up, so that's bullish. And then the red and the green, the 5200 crossed each other. So yeah, that's a really interesting chart. Longer term, I think yeah, I mean, you could have if the market starts to move back into these stocks, you could have a pretty long runway to the upside.
yeah. Well, Larry, best way for people to follow your work and let's see, we just ended last quarter, so where were you at on returns and is based on your model portfolio?
So I'm
Um,
I'm just a little bit behind the S&P right now, and I've had a lot of really good stock picks, but where I went behind the S&P is when they flushed the market out in what was it, April?
okay,
So
yeah,
right near the low, so because I'm a trend follower, when these trends break down, I'm going to raise more cash. So right near the lows, I probably had about 40% in cash.
yeah,
So if the market would have broken down, so right here, when the market broke down, I had outperformed the market all the way up until right here. And if the market had continued to break down, then I would be outperforming by a wide margin. But what happened is when the market turned as fast as it did, when you're at 40% cash, you're going to have to try to play catch up. You see what I mean?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
I'm not going to go from 40% cash to 100% invested right away.
And it took time for these things to get back over your moving averages.
Right, right. So, if it wasn't for all the cash and some puts I had, I'd be ahead of the S&P by about 600 basis points, but I'm not right now. I'm
Yeah.
behind by I think about 150, but I'm pretty confident that by the end of the year that I'll get ahead of the market. But I've had a lot of, really good, monster hits like Palantir and Robinhood, but because I went to such high cash and I had some put options that expired worthless, I'm a little bit behind the S&P right now.
All right. Well, Larry, I bet you do beat the S&P by the end of the year. And sometimes we have to pay the price for being disciplined too.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it's a
I've
hard
got
lesson, but yeah.
Well, you know what it is? I've got a lot of subscribers, and my first goal is let's never lose a lot of money, right? Because if you underperform the S&P, by a percent or two or whatever it is, and it goes up 20% and you go up 18%, that's fine. 18% is not bad. But I never want to get into a situation where the market gets hammered for whatever reason, like we saw in 2022. And then you sit there and you're down, 20% or 30% for the year, and you say what happened, and you can't dig your way out. So yeah, when this market broke down as fast as it did, because I do manage risk, I had a lot of cash, and it has been a lag on the way up. But when I look at my positions, the stock buys, we've got some, home run trades that are in there, and I'm pretty confident that by the end of the year that I'll be ahead.
Okay, I would not bet against that.
I
And
appreciate that, Dale.
so Larry, where do people go to get involved with you? Get your letter, follow you.
Yeah,
We
two
know on
places to
X.
find me. Yeah,
All right.
and I appreciate you asking. So Blue Chip Daily is my website. So if you go to Twitter at Blue Chip Daily, if you go to my website, bluechipdaily.com, and you can see I've got a bunch of videos on there. We got fortunate. We did catch that bottom about 2 days off the bottom in the S&P.
Okay.
And then you can just go through. If you go on the website, you can go through, see some of my ideas that I've posted over time. We've got a 1 month membership. We've got a 1 year membership. You can cancel it at any time. But we've had a lot of really good, nice winners off the website this year.
Okay, and congrats on getting some airtime on CNBC and standing next to Tom Lee. You got
Yeah,
I
Tom Lee.
when I saw that picture of you and Tom Lee on the floor, I was waiting for horns to come out of your head. Both
Yeah.
of you guys, not because you're the devil, all right, because you're bulls, all right. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Tom Lee,
There's two
Dan
guys.
Ives. How
Fine.
about Dan Ives' wardrobe?
Dan Ives looking like he has his pajamas on the floor.
Yeah.
All right.
He,
Who else? What else you got?
yeah, those are the two big ones. But yeah,
All
I've been
right.
fortunate. We've been on TV. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's been good. And Dale, these trends, as long as they stay up, I'm gonna stay long. But you know me, I don't fight the market. When they start to break down, then we'll reevaluate.
All right, Larry, you're missing a picture with that guy Dale Pinkert. Anyway, it's great talking to you every quarter. Uh, Good luck on the finish. We'll be talking near the end of the year, early next year. I'm always rooting for you, Larry Tentarelli, and people should check out what Larry does because he is a very disciplined guy and has a great eye for picking individual stocks. If you're not passive and you want to be active, here's your source.
Dale, I
So
really appreciate it. Always kind words from you, and I'm always glad, for the opportunity to come on and talk with you.
good hunting, Larry.
You too,
Go
my
get
friend.
him.
Have a
Go
great
get
day.
him. People are thanking you, and that's a wrap, everyone. So don't just count your stocks like Larry, count your blessings. And I know Larry does too. And you're welcome, everyone. Have a great day. Could join the team in 15 minutes on the morning edge. And we'll see everyone tomorrow. You're welcome, everyone. Adios.
Hey traders, this is Blake Morrow with ForexAnalytix. Thanks for stopping by our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like these videos, share them, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of the content that we provide here for free. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next video.